Tonight's lucky fan, section 206, row 10, seats 1 and 2. If you're in those seats in downtown Cleveland and you're not Sean Pebbles or a friend or family member, what are you doing there? Those seats belong to Sean for a very long time as a Cavaliers season ticket holder. And then he went on to become the voice of the Cleveland Cavaliers, his hometown team, his favorite squad. He was also the PA voice for the G League, at the time D League, Erie Bayhawks, before they folded after 2020. And when LeBron finally came back to Cleveland and gave Cleveland that elusive title in 2016, Sean was in Disney World, of course, with his family. If you're not going to be in Cleveland, I guess it's probably a good place to be. But famously, his daughters recorded his reaction, and as any fan would, he rejoiced. And he also rejoices at the fact that he gets to announce for his favorite team night in and night out in downtown Cleveland. Welcome to Calling the Shots, by the way. It's Joel. This is the show that puts public address announcers, just like Sean Pebbles, in the spotlight. So tonight's episode is a very special one. The man who took over for the very promising, very proud, and very loud voice of Olivier Cedra that once ruled over Cleveland. We've got Sean Pebbles. And I will go ahead and shut up. You guys can enjoy the show. Leave all your comments, your likes, your shares, subscribe. Let's do all the fun stuff after you watch this video. Sean's a great guy. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Calling the Shots, the show that puts public address announcers and broadcasters in the spotlight for a change. Today, I have the PA voice of the Cleveland Cavaliers up in northeastern Ohio, the one, the only, Mr. Sean Pebbles. Sean, thank you for coming on today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be a part of this with you, and let's get it rolling.
Absolutely, man. So, just going through your bio and some of the things that I said previously, you were a longtime Cavaliers season ticket holder, way up in section 206.
Yep.
You were at LeBron's first home game in 2003, so you've seen the ups and the downs all throughout Cleveland sports history. And then you came to be the announcer for the Cavaliers in 2017, the year after the long nightmare was over. And you were in Disney World with your family. Tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, so we the timing was a little strange, just because we always planned for the Cavs to make it to the finals, but it was also at the time that my oldest daughter was graduating from high school, and if you've planned a Disney trip, you've got to be on the ball with that well in advance. And so I did just that because I really wanted to do something special for my daughter. And we went down there after Game 4, actually. We were in Cleveland the night that they lost at home and went down the infamous 3-1. And we watched the whole thing unfold from Orlando. And, they won Game 5, and then in Golden State. Then they came back home, and Game 6 was electric. I wish I could have been there in Cleveland for it, but you just kind of got that good feeling. And we were at Ep.4 the day of Game 7, which was Father's Day, and enjoying the day with both of my girls. And I was watching the clock closely. I said, all right, we got to get going. And lucky for us, we were staying at the Polynesian, which is off the monorail. So we jumped right on at Ep.4, shot right over to the resort, got in, game started, everything just kind of unfolded with the block, the stop, the shot from Kyrie, everything that happened. And when the clock hit zeros, when Maurice Spates shot that shot, and you realize that it it happened. And my kids actually still they bring out the video from time to time of that moment, and they videoed just the second that it all happened, and I just dropped. I dropped
Yeah.
down to my knees, and just in utter disbelief. And it would have been great to have been back, up in the area whenever it happened, but to just share that moment with my kids, because they've been going to games since they were teeny tiny. And even the next day when we were out in the parks again, and I didn't have a Champions shirt yet, but I had a Cavs shirt on, and so many people were just hugging it up and dapping and everything else and congratulating and everything. It was super, super awesome way to spend the next day down there, of celebrating a victory that, any sports fan would have looked at. Here's the 73-9 Warriors, here's the Cavs, they're down 3-1, and oh wait, they won the whole darn thing. And it was truly special, and definitely a day I'll never forget.
No, I mean, what a whole weekend of that, right? Like that's just the emotional highs and lows, the like, well, you know what, we made it here, maybe next year, to oh,
Hmm.
we got a shot, and then it's ours.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
all
that's that. Welcome to sports.
yeah, that's
That's the
oh
beauty
man,
of it.
that was bizarre. I mean, I definitely had a Cavaliers jersey on for that series.
Yeah.
I was so excited to see LeBron finally deliver,
Mm.
all the big promise that he had put out for in 2003. So I thought that was really cool. And to do it
Yeah.
against a team that everyone thought was a shoe-in, just made it even that more special. So getting into the PA stuff, where did you get your start? Where did you start, like a low level, doing maybe high school games or rec league games, or just speaking engagements? Tell us a little bit about that.
So I never thought in a million years I would be involved in sports announcing. Like, my whole thing growing up as a kid and even going into college was I wanted to be on the radio. I wanted to be a radio DJ and just kind of do that life, because it looked cool. And I wanted to be the guy to play the music and do the big events and things like that. And I did it in college, and I did a little bit post graduation with some radio stations, but this whole sports announcing thing was not even on the radar until, ironically, I got into sales back in 1998 with a radio station. It was my only way in. And
Mhm.
so for all those years, from 1998 all the way up until 2009, that's what I did. I did sales, and I still do even to this day, if for my day job.
Mhm.
But I ended up working for the Erie Bayhawks of what was then the NBA Development League. It wasn't even a G League
Right.
yet. It was still the D League. And so I worked in their front office, and I did sales and tickets and groups and sponsorships and banner space, like all this stuff in our arena in Erie. And one day I was in my office at my desk, and I got called downstairs. It was like 4 o'clock the day of a game, and they are like, "Hey, Sean, we have a little bit of a problem. Mike, our normal announcer, can't be here tonight, and we know that you used to or still doing some DJ stuff. You're comfortable with talking in front of a crowd. We know that you're a fan of the game, so you understand it.
Mhm.
So you're pretty much our only option to call the game tonight. What do you think?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it. Let's give
Yeah.
it a shot." And so I jumped in and did that game, and it was close to the end of the second season of the Bayhawks, and then that was the only game I did that year. And then fast forward to the start of the third season, that became my game night job. Like, prior to that, it was like show people around their seats and be
Sure.
guest services, all that fun stuff. But now that was the new role I took on to do a PA announcing at the arena for the Bayhawks. And for years, even after the Cavaliers position came along for me, I still remained in Erie. I live in Erie. I'm in Erie right now, actually.
Excellent.
And yeah, and I wanted to stay on staff and do as many games as I could, barring there wasn't any conflict with the Cavs. Because if there was a Cavs game Sunday as Bayhawks, I was in Cleveland, and they understood that. But
Mhm.
the Bayhawks gave me my opportunity to do that. Something I never thought that I would believe in myself, be able to do, have confidence in doing, and
Sure.
in knowing what that experience gave me, that was the ability to check all the boxes that were needed from the Cavs when I auditioned in 2017. I owed them everything. So I
Yeah.
wanted to stay on and be a part of the Bayhawks pretty much until they turned the lights off. And just a couple years ago, because of the reassignment of the team down to work alongside the Pelicans, Erie no longer has a franchise here. So I pretty much until the very end, I was a part of the organization. But the last game I physically did for them was in 2020. We had a home game, sent them out on the road for a couple road games, but then COVID happened, and that was the end of it as far as games played here in Erie. We never got a chance to say goodbye to the fans and
Oh,
to have that moment of closure of the
yeah.
organization, because then it just kind of went to, they played in the bubble, and the Pelicans were ready for them to transfer down there, and so they went, and that was that. But it was an awesome experience, and that's how I got my start. I know so many guys and gals that are in this. They started out in the small gyms or on a small ball field or wherever doing things and climbing the ladder and working their way up. And I literally jumped right into an NBA game my first night with the development league, and I haven't looked back since. And it's been a heck of a ride, and I'm super excited for all those memories and things that I was able to do here in Erie.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely one way to do it. I mean, everybody's story so far that I've spoken to has had something a little bit different, and this is by far the most different. So
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
kind of cool, though. Did the nerves get you at all, going from just doing some radio stuff to doing guest service stuff to you're the center of attention during starting lineups and a lot of halftime?
1,000,000%. And I'll tell you right now, even just sitting in the field house last night for the game against the Timberwolves, the nerves are still the same. If there comes a time when you're rolling into the arena and you're getting ready and the music's hitting and the lights are out and everything's going on, if you don't have that nervousness, or you don't get those goosebumps, then you need to step out and let somebody else come in, because that's just part of it, and that's
Yeah.
what gives me motivation and gives me that adrenaline, because it's an awesome experience to get a chance to do what I do, and I know I share that sentiment with everybody that does this, no matter what level you're at. If you got to get excited, you got to get fired up, and you also have to have those nerves, because that keeps you on point.
Yeah, that certainly does. I mean, you kind of answered that a later question I was going to have for you. I mean, what keeps you going, I guess, throughout the season? Because I mean, obviously, some seasons are a lot better than others. This one's been fantastic, luckily. But there's always that grind of games where there might be 3 or 4 in a week, and you're just like, oh, I need a day. How do you get through that and then still put up a good bit of entertainment for everyone in attendance?
Well, when you look ahead and you know the schedule that you have coming your way, you mentally prepare for it,
Mhm.
but even more importantly, you physically prepare for it. You watch what you eat, you watch what you drink, you make sure you're getting your rest, you're doing all the things to take care of this, and make sure you're getting your sleep. I always make sure I get a nap on game days and stuff, and
Good.
just for me, and I'm sure this applies to everybody, but just the thought of getting a chance to be around everybody over at the field house. I mean, when I first walked in the door over there, almost 8 years ago, the first thing I was told was, "Welcome to the family." Welcome to the team, welcome to the family. And so
Yes.
every time I go into Cleveland, every time I walk in that building and I get a chance to see everybody, I'm seeing my family. I'm seeing
Yeah.
extended members of a very, very dear part of my life. So there's that excitement. And then, yeah, I mean, the season's been great, the wins are great, but there's also been those nights and periods when it hasn't been so great. But as I said 5 minutes ago, welcome to sports. That's the beauty of
Yeah.
it. The highest of highs, the lowest of lows. You don't let one get to you more than the other, and you just kind of stay on your road and stay in your lane, and you keep your emotions in check, and just know that, hey, tonight wasn't the night, but you know what, tomorrow's another run at it. And let's be honest too, it's fun. It's fun. That's what it is. It's entertainment, it's fun, it's an escape from all the other things that we have to deal with on the day to day. And for me to get a chance to be a part of it with the people I do it with, it's truly beyond special.
Yeah, man, it's definitely a blessing in disguise to have that opportunity. It scratches that itch for me. I was a musician and touring, and when I stopped doing that, I kind of was like, well, what do I do now? I need to be seen and heard. I want to be on stage. I want to put on a show for somebody. Got the call
Yeah.
to be a PA announcer. I'm like, this might be it. And from there, it has totally scratched that itch, and it has made it like an extended family. So it really, yeah, you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
That's the best description of it that I've heard. So on your game day setup, I have I just have notes, a paper roster and a pen, and obviously some things I just need to say for local businesses and things like that, commercial wise. What does your game day setup look like? Some tablets, or do you have prompters, anything like that, or is it just winging it? Or
Old school pencil and
right.
paper. We have our production meeting 3 hours before game time. That's where we're handled our game rundown as well as script. We go over everything, timeout by timeout, break by break. If there's something special going on, whether it's pregame, halftime, postgame, whatever, we go over all the timing and the sequences for that and who all's involved. And if there's additional rehearsal time out on the floor, we make sure we carve time out to go and do that. But yeah, other than that, I have the best game director in the league sitting to my right. He calls the show and gives me my cues whenever something, and if there's something that just happens to pop up, because again, it's live and things happen, oh, hey, we gotta drop this in, or hey, move that
Yeah.
from timeout 1 to timeout 2. And Adam does an incredible job. He's a great leader of the whole team, and he's my ear, or my voice into my ear, to keep me on point with those types of things. Other than that, when the ball's moving, it's just focusing on what's happening there. And when the game ends, we all shake hands, hug it out, and head home.
Yeah. Yeah. That is kind of nice to be able to wash your hands of it, good or bad there at the end.
Yeah, you got to, and you always keep a positive attitude, because like I said, I mean, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some, but again, it's a true blessing to get a chance to do what we do, and to get a chance to do that and be a part of it with the fans. It's incredible. It's, like I said, it's just something that after all these years, I still can't believe I'm doing.
Yeah. It's I think it's the best job in the world, right? Uh, so this might be an easy question. This might be a layup. Do you have a favorite player to call, all time or current? I mean, there's a few right there on the top that I would imagine that might be one and one A
Well,
maybe, but
yeah, I mean, all time for sure. I mean, it's going to be LeBron, because
yeah.
he's part of that time that I've been there.
Mhm.
Being a Cavs fan since I was a kid, I would have, and I've had the opportunity to introduce this gentleman a couple times for special occasions in the arena, and that's Mark Price.
Oh yeah.
Mark is my all-time favorite basketball player, above and beyond anybody else to ever step on a court. That's who I grew up admiring, and I, when I played basketball, I tried to, to shoot like him and to play like
Mhm.
him, and just have that motor. So I wish I could have been a part of it when Mark was playing, but I've had the honor of announcing him for various things. But LeBron for sure, as far as current players,
Mhm.
and anybody else wearing a Cavalier uniform, I would say is my favorite player to announce.
Yeah.
But we're so blessed right now and so lucky in the league to have so many great players. Ones that are kind of reaching the twilights of their career, like
Mhm.
the Steph Currys and of course LeBron and things like that. But then the young talent, even watching Anthony Edwards last night, and we got Victor Wembanyama doing this thing, and Giannis just being Giannis. And the list goes on and on and on of the great players that we've had a chance to watch over the years. But I would say LeBron and anybody else in a Cavs uniform.
Sure. No, that's a very acceptable answer. And
Yes.
I'm glad you didn't shy away from that too. I mean, mentioning the greats like the Bryce and Elo and Doherty, and
Oh,
I mean the names that the Cavaliers have had throughout the years. Like even Sean Kemp in his later years, it was like
mhm.
they were a destination, and
Yeah.
had so many great players. And it's cool that they still come back and you get the opportunity to kind of live that childhood a little bit out, that childhood dream, and announce them in that way. So
Mhm.
that's very
Yeah.
cool.
It means a lot. It means a lot to be a part of that, especially that old Richfield Coliseum era team, because
Mhm.
that's that's where I met the Cavs. That's where I, was introduced to it, and I haven't looked back since.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as someone who is a lower level announcer, I'm always looking for, feedback. I'm looking for advice. What advice would you give to someone trying to get into public address, especially at a higher level, maybe like a college or any professional level, anything like that? People like me that are watching this in hopes of getting some sort of like not behind the scenes look, but maybe just a better understanding. Like, what kind of advice could you give someone like that?
Network. With us being a social media driven society anymore, there's so many groups and so many different ways to connect with people, to see what opportunities are out there. I actually saw earlier that the Warriors are now looking for somebody. It was published earlier. I was like, oh, that's surprising. I didn't realize that, but apparently that's a thing now. But yeah, just being vigilant on social media and being a part of groups and networking with people, no matter what level, whether it's college or in the pros or whatever. Myself personally, I'm always willing to help and listen to audio or watch video of people if they just want some feedback and some thoughts. And because again, I didn't have that. I like we
Right.
talked about earlier, I just kind of fell into it and didn't have to kind of go through that grind of working through the high school or the junior college type level type stuff. But I even in my spare time, I still do those types of events. I get asked to do that stuff all the time, and I love to get a chance to do it. But yeah, just network, meet people, and ask questions. Don't don't say no to opportunities, because the most important part is, oh yeah, I don't want to do a thing where there's only 10 people sitting in the seats. But well, guess what? One of those 10 is someone that could be someone very influential on what the opportunity that you're looking for. So
Yeah.
just be present, be out there, be seen, be heard, and don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone and do something. Because when I was asked to step in and announce a game 3 hours before tip, back in 2009, I was like, this is crazy, and I found my way, and
Yeah.
I was able to check all the boxes necessary for the audition that was going to come my way in 2017 with the team that I grew up loving and continue to love 4 decades later.
That makes all the sense to me.
Yep.
You kind of had some big shoes to fill too when you came in
Yeah.
2017. Olivier Cedra, did you know at the
Mhm.
time? I mean, obviously you would be, been to many games and you've probably heard his voice a dozen and a half times. But did you know, like, I guess how beloved in the Cleveland area he was, that you were just walking into those shoes and like, okay, this is the kind of the mantle I have to hold right now.
I knew right away how much he was beloved and how big the shoes were from the moment that it was announced that I was going to be coming in after him, because he set the bar
Mhm.
for the sound of that building. And we also have arguably the absolute best hype man and host in the NBA, and that's Ahmad Crump. And Ahmad's been there for over 20 years. So to come into that environment, to work alongside him and Nicole, and now we get a chance to work with Kier and Sandra as well. But
Mhm.
but Olivier was the bar, and there was obviously the guys before him. Howie Chiswick was a legendary Cavs PA announcer. So was Jeff Shreve, who works down the road at the Cleveland Browns. And Jeff still comes around and does the MAC tournament every year. So great voices
Oh,
over the years within the Cavaliers organization, but with Olivier being the voice of the organization for those title runs in 14, 15, 15, 16, 16, 17. He's what you knew when you either were at a game or you watched it on TV. I mean, and I was surprised to find out that he went to Brooklyn, but I was super excited for him to be in the New York area, and with all the other things that he does with his voice and his business. And then I found out that they were going to be looking for someone, and I was like, okay, well,
yeah.
I like I said earlier, I checked the boxes. There is no organization on earth that I love more than the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I belong here to do this. So darn it, I'm gonna throw my name in the ring, and I'm gonna see what happens. And here we are.
Yeah.
And again, it's still a pinch me moment that I'm doing it, but very lucky, very blessed to get a chance to say that I do.
For sure, man. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And I mean, we have, there's a lot of guys that come through these things. They have them for short times, or they're not really a fan of the team, but they do it anyway for whatever reason.
Hmm.
But yeah, someone like you that was born and raised a Cavs fan, and then this is your job now. It's
Yeah.
I feel like that's how it's supposed to be. I feel like that's the storybook ending for everybody.
Yeah, and you say job, and I was just talking with somebody about this last night at the arena, and they said the exact same thing. Oh, you've got such a cool job. It's not work to me. I mean,
Right.
I literally I get a chance to come over here, be around people that mean so much to me, watch the team that I love so much, and whether they win by 20, they lose by 40 or whatever. It's just again, it's just part of that loyalty and allegiance to a team and to an organization, and it's a lot of work.
Hmm.
Um, but
Sure.
to me, it's not a job. It's just a dream come true is what it truly is.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. So it's you're pretty knowledgeable about all the PA announcers, obviously Cleveland history, NBA history, things like that. if you had to put a Mount Rushmore of PA announcers or ring announcers, anybody like that, who would be on your top 3 or 4?
Well, NBA first, and I'm gonna go with some of the old school guys, and you can't get really any more old school than Lawrence Tanner with the Lakers and Dan Roberts with the Jazz. They have
Yeah.
both been in this profession for nearly 5 decades, and so much love because I remember even as a kid watching the Lakers and the Celtics battle it out in the finals, and or the Lakers and the Blazers. You always heard Lawrence in the background. For him, the stories for him, oh my, him and Dan both watching Stockton and Malone and all
Yeah.
and Mark Eaton and like all those guys over the years in Utah, and of course Mike Biamani down in Miami.
Yeah.
Love Mike, and the stories that he has and the games that he's been a witness and a voice to. Those 3 guys, just absolute legends, and to put them on Rushmore for sure. If we're going to step out a little bit as far as like ring announcers and other voices of entertainment and sports, everyone obviously can say Michael Buffer, because he's like the big booming, let's
Yeah.
get ready to rumble guy. But me growing up a wrestling fan, Howard Finkel, um,
There he is.
from the W, I'm not, and
Yeah.
whatever, WWF, because that's what I grew up with,
Sure.
the
Yeah.
Fink, and I got a chance to meet him. Went to WrestleMania in Miami. It was WrestleMania 28, and I was at the Fan Fest, and I literally just the other day found the paper that I had. It was an autograph thing he had at his little table. But I got a chance to meet Howard, and he said, "Oh, where are you here from?" And I said, "Oh, I'm down here from Erie, Pennsylvania." And he knew without hesitation, "Oh, the Erie Civic Center is downtown. Great little building. Great memories there. I've been there many times." Like the guy literally traveled the globe announcing
Wow.
in every imaginable size of gym, stadium, arena, and he knew exactly the Erie Civic Center. And he's like, "All right, just blew my mind, that he knew that right away." And so I would definitely put the Fink on the mount for sure. He's just that icon,
Yeah.
absolute icon.
Yeah, I did not know I was on the horn with another wrestling fan. So I've been waiting on a Howard Finkel drop for 4 weeks. So that's great. I'm so glad Howard
Much, much,
Finkel
much love to Howard.
is
Much love
getting
to him.
his just due. Rest in peace,
Oh,
Howard.
for sure,
Man, he was,
absolutely,
yeah, an absolute legend.
for sure.
Yeah, good to hear that, man. So you were a pretty social guy out there on the Instagram. Are you on TikTok or anything like that either, or you just do?
I mean, I watch them, but I don't have like I have an
Gotcha.
account, but I don't. But I'm not like actively like out in parking lots or whatever doing TikTok. So, something I've thought about doing, but I don't know. I'm just haven't quite gotten there yet.
Yeah, same. I don't have any videographers to watch me dance or edit that or care to.
And nobody wants to see that.
Yeah, nobody needs to see me
Nobody
do
wants to see that.
that.
Nah, nah, nah.
But if we do want to catch up with you on social, what would be the best place and what would be the handle you use?
Instagram, Facebook. It's just Sean Pebbles, and that's spelled
Mhm.
Peebles. Twitter, sorry, X,
Ah,
at at Cav Sean, is where you can find me there. Most of my Cav stuff I do through there. But
okay.
Facebook, there's always a nice hodgepodge of everything, Cavs and family stuff, because I'm a big family guy, and spending time with my friends and traveling and things like that. So I love to share all the cool things that I'm blessed and lucky to get a chance to do with my amazing wife Susan and my kids and my dogs. If you love
Yeah,
dogs, there's pretty good chance there's going to be some dog photos popping up on the feed sometimes as well.
good. If you complain about dog photos, then get out.
Yeah, we
That's
can't be
not
friends.
what we do. All right, Sean. So before we go, if you can reach back into your memories a little bit, what is your favorite moment that you have called with the Cavaliers?
I would say my first moment, not just a moment that I've called, but
Mhm.
my favorite moment of all time would be opening night, my very first game, October 17th of 2017. And I say that only because it was the first game that I had done for the Cavs as well. Like I got hired the day of their last preseason game, so there was no warm up for me. And it's like, hey, welcome to the NBA, and oh, we're the first game of the NBA season. It's on TNT, and Kyrie Irving is coming in as a member of the Celtics, and we're gonna catch your intro of him live on TNT, and like the whole spectrum of emotions with that. Plus, you know,
Yeah.
my wife and the kids were there that night. That will forever be my all-time greatest moment at that scores table in the field house. There's been numerous other memories, you know, going to the finals and watching LeBron my first year, and a lot of great, you know, being a part of Vince Carter's, you know, farewell tour, the moment that we had for Kobe after the accident, and you know, the big buzzer beaters, and all the excitement that's occurred the last couple seasons with the, you know, the play-in tournament, and then the, you know, making the playoffs and getting bounced, and then making the playoffs again and getting the second round last year, and all the excitement around this year. And it's just, there isn't one specific moment. It's just this whole thing is the moment for me. You know, from that very first day until whatever will be my last. Those are going to be my favorite moments with the Cavaliers organization, however long that is. But my all-time favorite that exceeds every other thing that I will ever do there is sharing that first game night with my family.
That's the perfect answer, man.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
Yep.
All right, Sean. Well, I won't hold you. I will go ahead and let everyone wave goodbye. So thank you so much for joining us. I really do appreciate your time. I appreciate your talent. I appreciate the fact that you guys are leading the East right now. And I see a good playoff run from the quietest one seed ever right now in the East.
Yeah. Let them talk about everybody else. That's, you know, the Cleveland against the world. That's the way it's been. That's the way it'll always be. And you know, we can just make it happen right there. And that's all that matters.
Sure,
Win it
man.
all. Win it for the land. Win it for the land.
Absolutely. Run it
Yes, sir.
back. All right, Sean. Well, I will go ahead and click this off.